Hare Krishna, it's a great privilege for us to welcome amongst us His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj. Without much delay, we want to request Maharaj to kindly grace the stage. His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj is the current GBC chairman, and His Holiness Guru Gopal Krishna Goswami Guru Maharaj had specifically mentioned that Maharajji will be here to help us all, guide us. At that time, Maharaj said that they will be together, but in the absence of Guru Maharaj, now we have the good fortune of His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj to guide us in Delhi NCR region and every other place as the GP's representative. So we want to request Maharaj to please inspire us a bit with his experiences about Guru Maharaj and what he thinks is the direction for us.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki jai. So first of all, I apologize for not being here in time for the Tirubhava ceremonies, but I can't control the airlines. No, they haven't given the GBC that authority yet, so I'm waiting for that. But until that comes, I have to obey the system, and this is the earliest I could get here last night. So, I'm trying to remember when I first met Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I think the first time I met him was 1976. No. I was staying outside of Srila Prabhupada's room, just in Mayapur, and I saw him and many other big devotees because I was recruited to type. I had to type the sannyas mantra for all the sannyasis taking sannyas. I thought, this is a nice mantra. Maybe someday I'll be able to chant it. And so I would sneak up to the window and listen to Srila Prabhupada speaking to different leaders. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj was one of those leaders. And Srila Prabhupada was so kind and so appreciative, because at that time here in India, there were very few devotees, very few, especially, devotees. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj was as far as I know, maybe there was someone else, but he was the first devotee of Indian origin to join. I believe he was. And so Srila Prabhupada had so much faith. Just like when Bhakti Charu Maharaj joined, Srila Prabhupada was so happy to have some Indian leaders. He gave him all three initiations, and because India was very, very lacking local leadership. So I saw that, how affectionately, of course, Srila Prabhupada was affectionate to all of his leaders and all of his disciples and everyone. That is the nature of a Mahabhagavat. But he was especially kind. I saw that. Of course, I couldn't see every meeting. Of course, I was a very insignificant brahmachari, but Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and especially Gopal Krishna Maharaj and also Lokanath Maharaj, they were always very kind. And, even though they had big positions and I was just a a little book distributor brahmachari from the jungles of South America. But still, they treated me, and especially Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I saw how he was such a simple devotee. Simple in the sense of what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, arjavam. And Srila Prabhupada explains arjava, this quality, as being free from duplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean someone who, doesn't understand how the world works, because no one could understand how the world works better than Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He was a very, very qualified spiritual leader, but he was also a very practical person. These were the characteristics of Srila Prabhupada also. Srila Prabhupada was so absorbed in Krishna Lila that in Venezuela, he went into samadhi. While he chanted Parama Karuna and stopped, and tears were flowing from his eyes for 5 minutes. And still, Prabhupada had to pull himself out of that samadhi, out of that internal, and practical. And Prabhupada said, whatever works, do it. This is the nature of Krishna consciousness. And Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj was of that same nature. Because there are many devotees, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada who remain faithful to him and to his movement, they're all very, very wonderful devotees. But one special characteristic of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and everyone has this to some degree, but I say he had no other agenda in his life. I was explaining this to one devotee today. That because some of my god brothers, they have a program, festival program, or a book distribution program, or varnashram program. And that's very nice. And people sometimes ask me, what is your mission? I said, there's only one mission. And to me, Gopal Krishna Maharaj was the person who personified that quality. His mission was Srila Prabhupada's mission. In his will, he says, I have nothing except what Srila Prabhupada gave me. Srila Prabhupada, that was his definition of Guru. Srila Prabhupada said, Guru is not very difficult. It simply means you do what your Guru Maharaj asks. Don't add, don't subtract. Just like Prabhupada's famous classic example, that if the Guru asks for water, you don't bring milk. You do what the spiritual master says. This is the perfection of spiritual life. And to me, I don't know anyone. Well, I can't say I don't know anyone that didn't, but to the degree that Gopal Krishna Maharaj did it, in the sense that he, just like someone just said, I said yesterday when I saw the list of his zones, all, Africa, India, a big part of India, Russia, Africa, Canada, I said, he's GBC of half the world, and still he maintained his simplicity. But at the same time, he could go with the biggest dignitaries, politicians, and talk with them on the same level of sophistication. This is the quality of a pure Vaishnava. That whatever the situation is, a pure Vaishnava can always respond to that situation. Srila Prabhupada was also a very simple person. Even Prabhupada said that management simply means that things go on so that Krishna is pleased. This is the definition that Prabhupada gave of management. Sometimes we try to make it very complicated. But Prabhupada, he said, just have good accountability, and good strong spiritual programs. So it doesn't require a huge sophistication. Of course, we live in a very sophisticated age. But Srila Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj was the personification of simplicity and at the same time the ability to deal with any situation. And so expertly. So much of our reputation here in India, in Bharat, is due to his such hard work. I had one very good friend, godbrother, who also was a very dear friend of Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Bahudak Prabhu. So Bahudak Prabhu, he left this world many years ago, just before he left, because we were good friends, and he came to visit me. I asked him to come, and we were going around my little zone, different places, and he said, Maharaj, I see you're working very hard. He said, but no one works as hard as Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Tirelessly working. Every time I saw him, every time I went to his room, there was a group of, 30, 40, 50 people waiting outside to see him. Every time I came in, there's a group. When I go out, another group. And still, he just dealt with that like so efficiently and so smoothly. I couldn't believe it. And to be the GBC in what I consider one of the most organized zones, and at the same time diverse. Diverse zone. You have West India, Gujarat, and then you have Mumbai, the capital of capitalism, in India, and then you have Delhi, the political capital, and he was able to manage all of these things so expertly. I don't think anybody else could do what he did, and as far as I can see, of course, I can't say nobody else has done these things. No, I can't say that. But to the degree that he did it, and to the extension that he did it, I find no parallel. I find no parallel. I was speaking with His Holiness Radhanath Swami just a few hours after Maharaj left. Actually, I took rest just a half an hour before he left his body, because Rishi Kumar Prabhu sent a message saying, a little urine was moved, maybe there's some hope. I said, okay, I'll take rest now and wait till the morning. But I had a dream, and in that dream, I don't know when the dream happened, because but I dreamed, yes, he has left. When I woke up, first thing I did, grab my cell phone to check. Was that just a dream? No, I mean, it was a dream, but there was some truth to it. And I was afraid to even turn on the cell phone. I was thinking, should I turn it on? Should I? No, I don't. I don't want to see if this happened. No. But I turned it on and it happened. So I spoke to Radhanath Maharaj, and Maharaj went on for 20 minutes, just glorifying Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj, saying, he has done so much for ISKCON over so many years, tirelessly, without stopping, without, no one could, I can't even believe it, how empowered he was by Krishna, by Srila Prabhupada, by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And always with enthusiasm. Just some weeks back, I can't remember who it was that was here in Gaur Purnima, but he said, I was there, and Gopal Krishna Maharaj was not well, but he came down and spoke for hours, even though his physical condition was so difficult. But when he actually sat on the Vyasasan, he just glorified Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is called, this is Krishna Shakti. Krishna Shakti Vinanahi Tara Pravartana. No one can do this. No one can do such things without being empowered by Krishna. Another amazing quality, my dear godbrother, Chitsukananda Prabhu, who was joined the Montreal temple just many months after Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He said, I always remember him. He said, always he would stand in front of each picture of Krishna, and he said he would chant so sincerely, almost crying. And he was just a bhakta. I mean, maybe he just got initiated. But as far as I know, he wasn't even initiated yet. He said he was so sincere. And he told me that when Prabhupada was so attached to him, just when he first joined, he was seeing, here is one of my future leaders for India. Because Prabhupada, at that time, there was nothing in India. There was nothing. Nothing had been developed. Nothing had happened. But Prabhupada's vision was already there. And he saw, here is my man for India. No. And Chitsukananda Prabhu said that I couldn't believe, he said, I saw many devotees, they were, neophyte devotees, we were all neophyte devotees. But he said, he's the one devotee who I didn't see as a neophyte devotee because the way he was chanting. He would stand because the picture, he said the temple had like 12 pictures of Krishna. At that time, there were not many paintings, there were not many posters, there were no books. But they just had these different posters from India. He said he would chant in front of those pictures, just like someone who, was totally absorbed in seeing that and absorbed in the holy name. And another amazing quality, which I saw again and again, was how he would always, every time I ever came here, every time I was in a GBC meeting, every time I was in any temple where he would always be on the altar worshiping the deities. Most GBCs, myself included, we get busy, and I go on the altar sometimes, but I was amazed. Every Mayapur, Vrindavan, every time I would go to Vrindavan for Kartik, he would be there. Recently, even, I was amazed on Gaur Purnima Day. There he was on Lord Nrsimhadev's altar, offering. I was, even he could, devotees were just ready to catch him or something because of his physical condition. Doing the artik, doing the artik for Gaurnitai, doing the artik for Radha Parthasarthi, doing the artik for Krishna Balaram. Just an amazing quality. I never saw that there was 1 minute in his life where he wasn't fully absorbed in devotional service. Not 1 minute. Like I see even many GBCs or senior devotees, that sometimes they have to go off on a retreat. I never saw Gopal Krishna Maharaj go off on a retreat. No. He was too concerned that Prabhupada's movement would go on and continue as Srila Prabhupada wanted. He could not allow himself that luxury of, now I got to go out and catch up. And even Srila Prabhupada, Hardy Shorty Prabhu told me that one time, I think it was 1976, Prabhupada just went to Nellore for 1 month and was just chanting. Of course, Prabhupada had a big burden of the whole movement on his head. But I never heard of Gopal Krishna Maharaj going off on a retreat. Maybe he did sometime, but I never heard about it. And everybody else I've seen, myself included, go off for a couple of days and just unwind. But such an amazing, dedicated personality. So I consider that all of you have a great responsibility. You know, the unfortunate thing about following a great personality is that you inherit a great responsibility, even if you don't want it. No, even if you don't feel up to it. No. This is something we all realized in 1977 when Srila Prabhupada left. We were crying. We were thinking, what is the future? What will happen with this movement? No. Why did Srila Prabhupada leave us at this time? So early, we're so unprepared. But then we all realized, why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empower Ramananda Roy, Sri Haridas Thakur, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami? You know, because this is the nature of a Vaishnava, and this is Krishna's way of bringing us all up. You know, just before we think we're ready, just before we're, you know, Krishna imposes upon us the responsibility of carrying on the Sankirtan movement. So now all of you, all of his disciples, you have this responsibility. This is the inheritance, that the disciple has. That now I have the mission of my Guru Maharaj. Of course, all of our mission is Srila Prabhupada's mission, but we see it through the lens of our spiritual master's own surrender and conviction and dedication, and sacrifice. And especially after the disappearance of the spiritual master, this is what we should focus on. How can I reorganize my life? As long as Guru Maharaj was there, I could be in the background. I could do what I want, do some service and, but now when the spiritual master leaves, we all have to step. We'll think in our mind, why did Krishna, I'm not ready. But it doesn't matter. Krishna wants you to be ready. And just as tirelessly as he worked, Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, our parampara, will expect all of you to take one portion of this great mission, which your Guru Maharaj established as a pioneer. He was one of the first pioneers in India, and he took on so much responsibility and so much sacrifice for so many years. So how do we repay? Srila Prabhupada said, we can never repay. The Bhagavatam says you can never repay your spiritual master, but you can do your best to try to do as much as possible to please him. And what will please a person like Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj? You, like I said, you have big shoes to fill, big sandals to fill, because his sacrifice was so great that all of you, unfortunately, if you want to be comfortable, unfortunately, you cannot do that. You will not be able to do that. The mark that he left in this Krishna consciousness movement is so intense, immense, and, completely unbelievable that it will take all of you and all of you here and all of the disciples combined to try to do one fraction of what he has done. I can guarantee you that. But Krishna will allow you all to come, especially those who are willing and able. And able, everyone is able, but those that are willing, now is the time. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to step up. And stepping up in Krishna consciousness means you become a little more attached to the Shikshastika, because the Shikshastika is what gives us success in spiritual life, especially verses 3 and 4. We take those verses into our heart. As Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I wear the third verse of the Shikshastika like a garland on my neck. And so, especially when the spiritual master departs, this is the moment when we put on that garland. We say, now is the time in my life that whatever situation has existed before, now is my time to become more surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, to Srila Prabhupada's mission, to my Guru Maharaj's mission. This will please him, because Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasadam Nagati Kutopi. This is, Srila Prabhupada said it again and again. This is of the Guru Vastakam. This is the one verse that Srila Prabhupada quoted more times than any other verse. And one of the verses that he quoted more times than any other verse in his teachings, in his books, that the only way to please Krishna is to please the spiritual master. And how do we please the spiritual master? Srila Prabhupada said, he said, I am an old man, so therefore I only have one request. Oh, everybody thought, one request? No problem? No. He said, just do as I have done. No. So, one thing, no problem. But that one thing means that you have to become a Shuddha Vaishnava. No. That's the only way we can accomplish that one thing. So I know many devotees will be speaking in glorification of Maharaj, and I don't want to take up too much time, but I just wanted to say a few words. I'm sorry that I missed all the other events, but I tried to get here as soon as possible. I was in the middle of Central America. It was not an easy place to get out of so quickly, and then storms and but anyways, by Krishna's grace, I got here in time to get some of your association together, and I'm very happy for that. And I hope I will be here for some time in Delhi and in the zone to serve all of you at the best way I can, and to serve Maharaj. This was his desire, that I could help him in his zone. Actually, when he first requested me to do this, I thought, how can I do that? I have I have the poorest zone in the world, and one of the most violent zones in the world, and already I'm overwhelmed. How can I do this? But then I thought, look at what Maharaj is doing. So how can I refuse it? No, just like chutney, too sweet and too hot. So it was too hot, but it was also too sweet. Because how could I refuse a request from a person like Gopal Krishna Maharaj? And that was, I reluctantly told him, yes, Maharaj, I'll do that. And I was thinking, how will I do this? But no, I've already committed myself. So now, please let me know how I can serve you, and I will do my best to do so to the extent that my consciousness and my abilities allow me. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotara Satushishi Mad Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj ki. Thank you very much, Maharaj. I also want to, on behalf of the entire ISKCON Delhi congregation, the temple devotees and ISKCON's Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj Shishya Samu, want to express our sincere gratitude to the GBC Executive Committee. आप सबके लिए सूचना देने के लिए आवश्यक है कि जब गुरु महाराज का स्वास्थ्य ठीक नहीं था तो जीबीसीईसी ने अपना व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप रेडी किया, उसमें से हम में से कई भक्तों को ऐड किया और हमसे रेगुलरली अपडेट्स लेते रहते थे। अंतिम समय तक वो पूछ रहे थे कि कैसे आपकी सेवा कर सकते हैं। उसके बाद भी महाराज जी का फ्लाइट टिकट कैंसिल हो गया था, फ्लाइट ही कैंसिल हो गया था, फिर भी उन्होंने तपन मिश्रा प्रभु को भेजा जो कि भारत में है, जो कि अगले आने वाले चेयरमैन है, तो उन्होंने भी हमें समय दिया। तो इस्कॉन दिल्ली के सभी भक्तों की ओर से हम इस्कॉन जीबीसीईसी का हार्दिक आभार प्रकट करना चाहते हैं। Thank you very much, Maharaj.